Oh, we be live everywhere except
Oh.
Facebook because they don't like. I just saw they don't like our title, but we be live. I'll
Oh, I
change the title.
wonder what it could be. I wonder
Yes.
what it could be.
Oh. Oh, they don't let us do it anymore. Okay, never mind. Okay, all right, it's fine. Okay, we be live. You
Hi.
do the thing. You do the thing. You do the
Oh,
thing.
we're live on Facebook now?
No, no, no. Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry. We're live on one Facebook, but not the other one. Okay, I'm gonna do it again. There we go.
Hello.
There we go. That's what I was waiting for. I wanted that. I missed that. Did you not know that I come here
I
every
was
week just for that? I'm just kidding.
confused.
It's okay. All right. Oh wow. Okay. So, yeah, you decided to. I just noticed what you decided to put in the title. I like. We're okay. This is gonna be a problem on YouTube. Why did you?
You're
It's
welcome.
okay. All right. Okay, just write in the title. Okay, sure. Sure. Why not? I
I
think
don't
we're
know how
already.
else to describe the content of
r-
that story except
Mm,
with the word orgy. Guys, if you didn't know that we're
oh.
talking about a gay orgy today, it's going down.
Mm-hmm.
Escandalo.
But in the.
Poland.
Well, Imran seems to enjoy the title, so
Yeah,
okay.
Imran says, I am a simple man. I see gay orgy and title. I click. Thank you. That's the point of putting it in the title. You're like, excuse me?
Okay, and Secular Rarity is here saying, "Woo, news, news, news!"
Oh,
And
yay. He's back for news time.
yes, guys. So we're gonna cover the news, guys, and we're gonna cover the news from what countries today?
Oh, we got UK, Poland, more from the UK, global news story, Australia, Indonesia, China, Iran, and Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia. Okay. So guys, we do mostly religion related news here, and from our perspective, and our audience is also from many different countries. So guys, let us know in the audience where you're watching from. Oh, look, from Finland, from Malaysia. Oh wait, I should read people's names. Jack from Finland, Lucifer from Malaysia, and Havoc from Lebanon, and oh wait, let me see. Ruining it for all of us. Yeah, Kiko from Poland, and
Kiko, make
much
sure to
global
stay
news.
for our next news. We need your insight because we only get a little bit of
Yeah,
information in English. We need to know all the details that you have available to you in Polish.
yeah. Selva, who has been a member for 22 months from India.
Wow.
Thank you. Atheist statement from New Zealand. Okay, I'm not gonna read everybody, but because we have to get to the news. But just gonna just a few more. Spacilla from Sweden, and I wonder where Norwegian Toby is from. I don't know. Yeah,
Kenny
Brian
from
from
Belgium.
US. Yeah, yeah. We have Facebook people here from Kenny, Brian from US, Shikha from India. Oh, somebody from Jahannam itself. Jahannam means hell for people who don't know. Seed from Jahannam. Noman from India. Okay, I'm gonna stop. And one more, great GJ from Holland, and yeah. So the rest I'm not gonna. Oh yeah, we're gonna talk. Imran, we're gonna talk about that. Are we gonna talk about what Imran is highlighting here?
Yes. Okay. So, yeah, Kenny is asking, how's the fundraiser going? Don't worry, guys. We will give a full update about that at the end of the news. That's going to be our last
Yes,
story today.
yes. Don't give it away, Imran. Don't give it away. It's a spoiler. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna unstart these. So the news today is it mostly good news? Is it mostly bad news? Is it ridiculous,
It's mostly
depressing, weird?
ridiculous news. It's mostly
Okay.
ridiculous news.
Okay. Good. So not that horrible. Not that much tragic. And the first one. Can we clap for the first one?
Oh, God. Yes. I mean, I
Mm,
don't like this one bit, but we're going to talk about it.
okay. Okay. First news.
First news, the United Kingdom erects a sculpture celebrating strength of hijab, sparking controversy. A forthcoming statue in Smethwick, Birmingham, titled "The Strength the Strength of the Hijab," has sparked controversy for its perceived endorsement of the hijab, which in many countries serves as a tool for female oppression. Erected in a primarily Muslim community, the statue stands as a stark reminder resembling the totalitarian vibes of brutalist architecture. Just days before its announcement, the world remembered Mahsa Amini, the 22-year-old victim of Iran's morality police, punished for allegedly miswearing her hijab. While the monument is intended to reflect the local culture, quote unquote, critics argue it oversimplifies Muslim women's choices and amplifies extremist narratives. Instead of commemorating religious symbols that can be seen as oppressive, secularists suggest a tribute to those who defy such religious impositions in the name of democracy, freedom, and equality. So, Armin, please bring forward this image. This is crazy because this is believed to be the world's first sculpture celebrating hijab. This is believed to be the world's first sculpture of a woman wearing the veil in a public space. And this isn't in Pakistan. This isn't in Iran. This is in the middle of the United Kingdom. And
but why?
Not only is it in the United Kingdom, it's in the middle of Birmingham, which I don't know. Based on my friends in the UK Pakistani community, I believe they would probably say that this is probably the last thing that Birmingham needs. And this pissed me off so much. I found out about this because of an internal chat of the International Coalition of Ex-Muslims. And obviously everyone was really shocked and upset by this move, right? And I was looking on reactions on Twitter, and I saw a reaction from Yasmin Mohammed, and I thought what she said was very apt, because the subtitle of her book is How Western Liberals Empower Radical Islam. And this is such a prime example of that. Like, they're erecting a sculpture in the middle of the United Kingdom about the strength of the hijab. Is that not explicitly promoting the hijab? And it's supposed to be like, there. Let me find a statement by the person that made it, because it's saying there. Okay, the bottom of the statue says the strength of the hijab. It is a woman's right to be loved and respected for whatever she chooses to wear. Her truth strength is in her heart and mind. I would agree, but I would also argue that the hijab is not a choice for millions of women, and that they are not respected for the strength that is within their heart and mind. Many do have no control over what is allowed to go over their own head, let alone the messaging received within their own mind. But let me get your reaction to this first before I just keep going on and on.
Whose money is this? Is this the government or some private institution or something?
It was commissioned by Legacy West Midlands, a registered charity which celebrates the heritage of post-war migrants in communities in Birmingham.
Okay, so it's not taxpayer money or anything, right?
I know.
Okay. So at least that's fine. That's good. Okay, I mean, we could disagree with it, but at the same time, it's their right to build it, right? It's a private. I'm assuming it's built on private property. I'm assuming, right?
I'm not exactly sure where it is. I know what neighborhood it's in. I don't know exactly if it's on private property or public property.
Right. Okay, so This is anti-Muslim as well, by the way, because it's kind of reducing the experiences of what Muslim women to only the ones who have hijab.
Exactly.
And there's a ton of Muslim women who don't wear the hijab. So there's that. Like, you should, a lot Muslim women who don't wear the hijab, they should like come out and be like, why are you all reducing us to just hijabis? Like, why is this? Do you not see us? Do you not see that we are also Muslims? Like, why is it that every display of a Muslim woman as a hijab? But also, but for people who don't understand why celebrating hijab is ridiculous, is because this is modesty culture. The whole purpose of hijab, they have turned this into a cultural symbol or an identity or a symbol that demonstrates someone's identity, but that's not the point of hijab. The entirety or the point of hijab is two things. One, so that men are not do not get aroused by women's, you know, it's to suppress female sexuality, right? That's what it is, right? And two is to mark them as owned by the father or the husband. So it's a protection
Yeah.
over of someone's property.
Well, and to
So
distinguish
this,
them from slave women.
yes, I mean, we could argue that that was like the historical reason why. I mean, given that we don't have slaves right now, I don't think in the UK we could see like, okay, that was the main original purpose of it. To, but the main purpose is to protect your property. Like, this is mine. Don't look at it. Like, in the same way that you protect your, I don't know, car or donkey against thieves, you're also protecting your wife or daughter, but not for their own protection, but against them being used by other men. That's what the whole purpose of hijab is,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, I mean, it's a weird symbol to celebrate given the purpose of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in an era where we are trying to be sex positive, we're trying to be against modesty culture. This is modesty culture, and
And modesty culture is rape culture.
modesty culture is rape culture. Exactly. Yeah. There goes our chance for monetization of the cut beat as well. Like, but that's okay.
Okay, I
It's okay.
apologize, guys. Please
That's
make
okay.
sure to like this
Dude,
stream. I
like,
used some big
yeah, please.
words.
Yes, yes, guys. Please like the stream and the video later when we cut this out. Yeah, but this is obvious. I mean, this is obvious. Like, I don't know how many times do we have to say this, that this is celebration of modesty culture. And it's so bizarre that it's being done by people who are usually on the left. Yeah, these are exactly the same kind of values that they fight against if it's coming from right-leaning Christians, but the same, suppression of women's sexuality and, the celebration of modesty culture, if it comes from an Islamic background, they seem to be celebrating it.
Well,
So it's just,
exactly. Why
yeah.
are these values or progressive ideas only allowed and acceptable within basically white Western communities?
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm starting to realize, that this regressive illiberalism is really becoming. It's allowing Enlightenment values only for Western people. It's
Right.
allowing for progress only within Western people and denying it to the rest of the world, because it's saying, oh, well, that's actually imperialism. Oh, well, that's actually us forcing our values and cultures and morals on other people, when really you're denying other cultures, other countries, other societies the ability to progress. Why do quote unquote we only get to have an Enlightenment period? Why only do we, quote unquote, get to have like a reformation of our faiths that then allows a complete overhaul of societal and cultural values? And the more I think about it that way, it just seems so racist. Like, why are we condemning other cultures and other societies to conservatism and tradition, harmful tradition? Because what I didn't realize when I used to be really quote unquote woke is the whole purpose behind the statue, as I was reading the statements of the author, is to celebrate and represent communities that are underrepresented in the UK or in UK media and that kind of thing. But why is it that only the conservatism from these communities gets to be represented? Why is it only that the traditionalism from these communities is represented? Because that's all that these people can identify as part of these minority groups. Is thinking that, oh, what makes them different is these different practices, which all too often are the traditional conservative practices. And that's what needs to be represented, because we believe in pluralism. That's not actually a good representation of true pluralism. And what I began to learn more and more as I started getting into the ex-Muslim space is that hijab is not like necessarily a sign. It makes Muslims within a community more visible, sure, but it's actually a sign of growing conservatism within a community, because the Muslim women that are not hijabi are made invisible by the sense that they are not hijabi, right? But they're actually the progressive ones. And they are then made invisible and shoved aside because they cannot be tokenized, because they're not visible for their Muslimness.
Perfect.
So it's a really vicious cycle, because then the progressives that are doing this in the name of pluralism are actually engaged in the practice of telling Muslim women that you are Muslim by your hijab because we can identify you as it. We can identify you by it. We can identify your Muslimness by your hijabness, by your observance. And then this reinforces the narrative that these women are going to be receiving from the more conservative members of their community, that they should be covering it up. I don't know. Am I off base?
No, that's perfect. Yeah, that's amazing. That was very well put. I just also want to mention. Imagine people who don't understand what we're talking about. Like, if this was, imagine if in Christianity we had a tradition of a specific clothing for women that was pressured on a lot of women, that was meant to suppress female sexuality,
And individualism.
Right? And individualism. But imagine then how progressive, like, just imagine that world. Imagine, what would you think the reaction to that be among a lot of progressives who might be celebrating this from Islam? I don't think they would tolerate it.
Never.
There's no way
never.
they would never tolerate that. Yeah.
But they tolerate it here because these people are brown and they're from a different country.
Yeah.
That's why they tolerate this, because that is actually their culture. Hey, everyone that's not from a Western culture, newsflash, you're defined by this now. Like, and these are the people that say that you shouldn't dictate these things. Dia saying, where is her mahram?
That's a good one. Yeah.
Wait, is there anyone here that can read Bengali? Because on part of this statue, there's script that looks like Bengali on it, and I really want to know what it says. So someone in the live chat, please tell me if you can. I asked one of my friends, but they didn't reply in time.
We have a whole bunch of interesting comments. A lot of people are pointing out that this is shirky. Like, Islamically, a lot of Muslims would have a problem with this because it's a statue of a person. This is like an idol. This is very much like an idol. Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of conservative Muslims are like, what the hell are you doing? this is like you're making a mockery out of it. You're mocking Islam. You're putting a hijab, but then you have a statue of a person. Like this is very much anti-Islamic. But let me actually see. Secular Sakai saying, do we call this progressive liberalism or regressive leftism? I don't know. Those are good descriptions.
Both.
Yeah, Zayd is also saying, in Sunni Islam, making statues in the image of a human is haram, by the way. Yeah, it's worse than haram. It's shirk. Oh, did you start Shikha's comment?
Mustafa is saying, now I'm compelled to worship it.
Did you start Shikha's comment? I think she's joking.
Oh yeah. No, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a joke. Shikha's joking with it.
I don't know.
I was a joke. But okay, so we have a
Susanna, don't play that ish.
Statues are haram. Okay, so did you want to read the super? Oh, you found
I wanted to read this tweet by 5 Pillars UK, which I believe is a explicitly Salafist organization in the United Kingdom. Wait, can I make this bigger? They put out this tweet about it. This new sculpture has been designed to celebrate women who wear hijabs. The artwork, called Strength of the Hijab, was a sculpture designed by Luke Perry and will be installed in Smithwick in October. It's believed to be the first sculpture of a woman wearing the obligatory Muslim covering.
Oh, they're mentioning obligatory. Isn't the 5 Pillars like an Islamic Twitter account that covers?
They're like a charity news site in the UK, and they're Salafists.
They're Salafists. So
and they are very saying, explicit in being like, yeah, this is obligatory. Yeah, this is obligatory. They're actually honest about this. So
this was supposed to celebrate female individuality and freedom or something like that, and they're mentioning in the description
how women are to be respected for what they choose to wear and celebrated for the strengths in their heart and minds.
Choose to wear, but obligatory.
And then look at how this is perceived by the conservative Muslims in the UK. Is this not proof positive of exactly what I'm talking about?
Wow.
This is exactly what I'm talking about, guys. This is why this is a problem.
This is such a good find. Good job. This is perfect. Great job, Susie. That's a great that's a very good demonstration
of your think that we're just like bigots or hateful or anti-progressive or something. We're not. This is what we're talking about.
Okay.
This empowers the radicals. This empowers the conservatives. This empowers the people whose ideas need to be left behind because they lead to the subjugation and outright abuse of the most vulnerable in the community, which, believe it or not, are actually females. We're physically weaker. We have less of an ability to defend ourselves. This is like... This is promoting the conservatism that keeps the vulnerable in the community harmed because it's setting the standard that this is how they need to behave. This is how they need to behave. And they will be controlled and coerced into behaving as is deemed appropriate. And also, side note, doesn't this sculpture look super sad?
Yeah, why is she depressed? I mean, actually it makes sense though. I mean, she has the obligatory. She's being forced to wear the hijab. She looks very depressed. What the hell are they doing? They're like, oh, I have to wear this. Maybe this is an anti-hijab statue. I don't know. Look at her. Like, look how sad people are when. Yeah.
Like, okay. And by the way, if anyone, wait, where did it go? Can anyone read this? Can anyone tell me what this says? Is this Bengali or is this Sanskrit? I really want to know what this says here. So if anyone can read this, please let me know. But and I also wanted to point out that I think this is really harmful because I can imagine this already being used by conservatives in countries where women are forced to wear this in mass, sometimes by rule of law, like in Iran. Like, isn't it so easy to imagine regime supporters and mandatory hijab supporters that are like, look, even in the United Kingdom, people recognize that good women, good Muslim women should wear the veil. Even in the UK, people realize that it's important for women to dress this way. Even in the UK, people recognize that this is, you know, something that should be celebrated. Why can't you get in line and wear the hijab? Why can't you obey and wear the hijab? Even in these Western countries that you love to celebrate so much, as the rhetoric that they would use, they recognize that this is important. So put on the hijab, or we'll force you to do so. I mean, Armin, you are more familiar with the rhetoric used by regime supporters and stuff. Do you think that's a realistic?
That is so on point. That is so on point, because they constantly do that. The people who want to, and they say like, look, these liberal countries that are lost in their way, and you guys are looking as a role model for our countries, even as degenerate as they are. They are still, even them are realizing how important our values are, how important this is. So they use this as a way to shut opposition. They throw this in their faces. They're like, you want to be like these Western countries and you want to be free and liberal and have rights? Well, look what they are recognizing. These are the values these are the conservative values that we have had, and we know that they work, and we know that makes you woman, if limiting women having family values, it makes your life better. But they are behind us, and they're slowly recognizing that. And look at the power of our values. Look at the power of Islam that is making even the Western countries submit to how important Islamic values are. I constantly see these narratives in Islamic countries. They go and look for any sign of recognition for Islamic values as a way to prove their point that Islamic conservatism works. This is just plays into their hand. And it's amazing how progressive in the West are aiding conservative narratives, aiding their propaganda in Islamic countries.
And we're betraying the people within these countries, within these communities that are actually doing the hard and risky work of trying to progress values and morals and behaviors and practices within their own cultures. It's a complete betrayal of the progressives within these actual countries. It just, yeah. By the way, Bengali Hindu is saying that yes, it is Bengali, but it's not possible to read the whole sentence. If anyone can read this and tell me what it says, please let me know. And I would just like to brag about the fact that I could accurately identify this as Bengali. I'm impressed with myself. So
well, you were a secular guy, and a lot of people were really enjoying all the facts that you were dropping here. People were like, she was like on
my
fire.
Truth bombs.
People, yeah.
Okay, here's the thing. Armin and I, the other day when we were working together, we had an interesting conversation about the supposed failures of multiculturalism. And I think this is exhibit A of the kind of issue that we were talking about. Do you remember that conversation?
Yes. Well, I think what I say, the good kind of multiculturalism and the bad kind of multiculturalism. Should I be?
Try to summarize our conversation, because I think it's important for people to hear.
All right. So, the way I talk about culture is the way I see it is culture has two different meanings that require to have two different words, but unfortunately they have the same word that refers to two groups of different things, right? And I don't think that it confuses everything, right? So culture could be referring to music, dance, art, calligraphy, architecture, different kind of food and traditions and customs that are mostly associated with people having enjoy things that enriches your life with more variety of customs and traditions and art and all that stuff. Like, so that's one category that people refer to as culture, right? Fashion, right? Another thing that people refer to as culture is values, ways of living, you know, ethical standards, moral standards, and ethical standards, right? That's a completely different thing. And when somebody says it's their culture or it's my culture, is referring to one of these two things. And I don't think they are like each other. I don't understand why we call both of these culture, right? So when it comes to the first category, I think the more the merrier. Just there should be no, people should be able to, it should evolve, it should mix, it should travel between people and borders, and the more of that culture goes anywhere, the more variety that you have, the better. The more access do you have to different kinds of culture that you could enjoy, the more it improves people's lives, it increases well-being, it brings people closer together, that enjoying different kinds of music like Argentinian dance, Japanese food, Arabic dance, some Bengali music, I don't know, different, all of this,
Poetry, language classes.
poetry. Yeah. So obviously when it comes to that, there should be zero barriers. I think zero barriers. But when it comes to the second one, not only there should be barriers, we should be actively trying to annihilate the inferior ones, right? When it comes to values, when it comes to moral standards, there are good ones and there are bad ones. When it comes to the first category, it's just a matter of taste. I could be an Iranian that enjoys Greek culture. You could be an Argentinian that enjoys Japanese culture. It's just a matter of taste. There is no good and universal good or bad. It comes down to your personal preferences. But when it comes to the second category, we have superior culture and we have inferior culture. And not only we should have a barrier for inferior culture, we should actually go from the defense mode to an offensive mode, and not just try to guard against it, but actively try to go and destroy inferior culture.
I've gotten to a point where I'm like, I feel like we should demand acceptance of these values.
Yeah, of
Not
course.
like, oh yeah, we should encourage it. No, we should demand it.
Yeah.
I'm appalled by the idea and knowledge that there are women and girls abused under these pretexts in my community, in my country. It's abhorrent.
Right.
It's unacceptable.
Yeah.
They have rights that are abused and denied to them on the basis of culture. I reject that.
And basically, before people think like we're talking about something fascistic here, we're basically talking is you have to accept gay rights. You have no choice but to accept gay rights and trans rights. Okay, you have to accept women's rights. There is no choice. You have to accept that secularism and democracy,
the rights of the child,
rights of children. Yeah.
More than anything, you have to accept free expression. I demand that you accept free expression.
This is basically the whole idea of a republic. Not everything is up for a vote. There are certain rights that are not up for discussion. And if your inferior culture doesn't like it, get the F out, or just submit to the liberal order, because it's making it work. Yeah, submit. Yeah, you have to. I know you want to submit to Allah, but we don't. If I know you want to submit to Islamic values, but you're not allowed. In secular countries, you have to accept that these countries have progressed because of certain values and they're not up for negotiation. That's the whole point of having constitutions, because there are certain rights that are not up for discussion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Secular skies, we need to have the language be on our side. The negative and toxic practices cannot be allowed to be called quote unquote culture. Exactly. Otherwise, those who oppose it are called bigots. Exactly. And I think a lot of people from any given culture are offended, and rightfully so, when horrific, horrendous abuse is attributed to their culture. It's harmful tradition. It's harmful tradition and practice. We got a few super chats that I want to address from the last segment. Gasian American is saying, go ahead.
No, you go ahead with that. I start a few
Gasian
comments
American
on
is saying they should have 3 statues, one veiled and proud, one unveiled, and one nude and proud. Maybe also mask and proud for the immunocompromised folks. Can you imagine if they had a fully naked female statue next to a hijabi statue in the middle of Birmingham? I would love to see how that would go down. I would love to see how that would go down. Benny Wolf just gave us a $2 super chat with no comment. Thank you, Benny. And this is, I think, a very good analogy or comparison that Gasian is making. He's saying, imagine if China's image of Europeans was as Catholic nuns. Like, oh yeah, we need representations of like Euro foreigners. Let's erect statues of Catholic nuns. People would be like, what? Okay, go ahead.
Oh yeah, so Darko is saying, yeah, that's a very good comparison, Gasian.
I like that.
Yeah. So Darko is saying, yeah, some values are just non-negotiable. Exactly, I agree. And also GJ is saying liberals ought to fight for liberal values. Yep. I mean, imagine that concept. I mean, what's the point of being liberal if you're not going to stand for liberalism?
Well, because they're not liberals. They're not actual liberals.
Yeah. And GJ is saying, who gets to choose the standards? Okay, so here's the thing. That's a good question. It's not who, it's what. All right. And empirical data. Okay. What, based on the information that we have, based on scientifically collected data that are also scientifically analyzed, we could see what works. We see what makes societies progress
and prosper and flourish.
Yeah.
Economically, and socially.
Imagine being a progressive that actually wants societies to progress based on scientifically collected data, right?
Oh my God. Yeah. Man, I had a lot to say this morning. This has been on my mind. This pissed me off so much.
That was good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed your rant. Wait, where's this? Okay. So,
and it's so, we should move just on a personal note. I don't know. I think it's really interesting because, like, I used to, like, 3 years ago, I got really, really into this, like, multiculturalism paradox. And then I kind of set it aside. And lately, it's just been on my mind lately. Well, probably because of the work I do. But man, it just makes me angry.
Yeah. We need to move through all, because I also have another show after. I'm gonna put myself down, but can we clap for the next news?
This is pretty. I love a good scandal. I love a good sex scandal.
All right. Okay. So wait, don't start until I put myself down.
Okay.
Next news.
Polish priest investigated after gay orgy ends in friend overdosing on erectile pills. This is full of Polish words, and I have no idea how to pronounce it, so just bear with me. In Dobrowa Górnicza, Poland, controversy has erupted following a scandalous event involving several priests. An orgy, which had homosexual priests in attendance, was disrupted when a male escort participating suffered a heart attack due to an overdose of Viagra. The incident took place at the apartment of Father Tomas Zamorzli, a prominent figure who was also the editor of the Catholic weekly Niedziela Sosnowa Ziekra. I don't know, some Catholic weekly newspaper, okay? Upon the escort's collapse, an ambulance was called. However, complications arose when the priest, Father Tomas Zamarzli, and another priest prevented the paramedics from entering and forced the paramedics to call the police to get involved. The subsequent fallout has been significant, with Bishop Gregor Kazak publicly addressing the incident, stating, "I wish to emphasize that moral evil will not be tolerated." He further implored the faithful to stand by and support the clergy who felt, quote, hurting and ashamed following the event. The repercussions of this event did not end there. In a shocking turn of events, a parishioner, presumably in response to the scandal, set fire to the doors of the Basilica of the Blessed Virgin Mary of the Angels in the same town. Local media have approached the issue with caution, blurring the images of the involved priest and withholding the full names in their reports. Sorry, Kiko said, as a Polish, I accept your Polish pronunciation. My Polish pronunciation is me seeing a bunch of C's, S's, and Z's smushed together and just going, oh my gosh. So, bring it up. Okay, so this is a scandalo that has erupted in Poland. And to be completely honest, I do not know how much I trust the details of these reports that have been put out there in English. So Kiko from Poland, please let us know if my description was accurate based on what's available to you, because I've found information about this in either the Daily Mail, which is not exactly known for its credibility, or this website, the Church Militant, which is a far-right Catholic website. So that being said, take this with a grain of salt. This was fascinating to me. Kenny's saying, I didn't know you could overdose on Viagra. You learn something new every day. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Be careful with that, guys. It affects your circulation.
Try. I'm not saying this works. I'm not a doctor. Okay. But try exercise and see if that helps, because it helps a lot of people if you exercise instead of taking pills. But yeah, go on.
Yeah. Okay. So apparently there was a sex party that was organized at this property that actually belongs to some part of the Catholic order. No, the apartment is owned by the Catholic newspaper that he wrote for or was the editor of, and he was having this sex party there. And apparently, I think there were two other priests there, allegedly, and a male escort. And the escort apparently took too many ED pills and had a heart attack. And then at one point they were forced to call the police. And then when, the paramedics tried to arrive, the priests were going to deny them entry to the point that they had to call the police. And then when the emergency services finally were able to get involved, they found the escort lying on the floor unconscious, and he was taken to the hospital, and it sounds like he recovered. And so the police are investigating him in a criminal setting about failure to assist a person in a situation that poses loss of life. And in the meanwhile, he's being investigated by the church separately under canon law. And the local diocese has said that they're going to, take him and prosecute him to the full extent under canon law, regardless of what happens to him with a police investigation.
Oh well.
And this is apparently not the first time there has been a gay priest scandal in Poland. He's been
Okay, well,
stripped of all
mean,
clerical duties and has been fired from his job as the editor.
I mean, I'm always happy when these news doesn't involve children, so I think we should celebrate that. No, like this is a
I
this is
mean,
I think
yeah,
this,
but
you
I
know,
mean,
it's pretty
there
good.
was someone that was in serious medical distress that he allegedly denied care to, or intervened and prevented care to. So we shouldn't celebrate that.
I mean, he's alive. Is he fully recovered and fine now?
Yes,
Okay, so it's fine.
apparently.
This is good. This is all good news. No children involved. Nobody died. This is good news. I mean, when it's Catholic Church and sex, we always have to like, oh no. So this is like relatively to all the other news that involves the Catholic Church and sex. This is pretty good. This is it's fine. Like relatively. I mean, the standard is pretty low.
This quote from the article is saying, like the names of the other priests in the orgy have been withheld. And there was this one priest that was interviewed, told the Polish media, quote, "This is not the first specifically homosexual scandal in this diocese." Quote, "In each of these cases, the only reaction of the church authorities is to recommend prayer, parentheses, never enough, and to set up another commission. As you can see, the effectiveness of such actions is quite limited." And there was a former Catholic priest that told the Polish media that the rule of mandatory celibacy, quote, "provided a good shelter for priests of a lavender orientation." I just love that description, like, of a lavender orientation. It's just a very old-fashioned way of talking about gay people. Sorry, you were going to say something?
No, that's it. That's it. We should move forward with. Okay, so yeah, so Secular Rarity is saying, are you saying working out gives you a boner? No judgment, just interesting. Okay. Yeah. And then Kiko is saying, I think not an. Well, I mean, I know that's a joke, but I just want to say, exercising improves your blood flow. So when you need it, it does help. Yeah.
Well, and also
Kiko
weight
saying,
loss helps with ED.
Yeah. Okay, Kiko was. I think he had this for you.
Kiko saying, I think not an overdose, but lower back pain. But yes, they were taking Viagra.
I don't know what that means.
Interesting. Maybe talking about what actually happened to the escort. I'm not sure.
Right. So GJ just gave us a super chat. GJ saying, has Armin or either of you ever guessed it, or collabed with genetically modified skeptic? He has a degree in psychology and amassed 650,000 subs. Were worthwhile? Question mark. Yeah, I mean, I went to Israel with him. I went to and we have on his channel. There's a whole bunch of videos of him and me, which are pretty good to watch. I mean, we have a lot of collabs with him, but he doesn't respond to me anymore. Ever since I contacted him and asked him to cover the secular revolution that is happening in Iran, given that it's the largest movement in the world, in the history of the world, even greater than the revolution that happened in Europe in the Age of Enlightenment. This is the biggest. I was surprised at how many atheist YouTubers and content creators were not covering this major event, given how many atheists are also involved with it and how many anti-religion activists are involved with it. So I contacted, even though we have a history, me and genetically modified skeptic have a history, and me and also a cosmic skeptic have a history, and also me and Rationality Rules were friends on Facebook and talked to each other for a while. And I contacted all three of them, and I saw they saw my message. They didn't respond to me. I told them this is important, so I made a video. I posted on Twitter and everywhere, tagging them, asking them to cover what's happening in Iran. I also tagged Matt Dillahunty Nothing. They didn't even touch upon this subject. So neither Rationality Rules responded to me, said like he was eager to cover this, and then eventually he ghosted me, and then he never followed up with me, even though he acknowledged that this is important and he wants to cover it. But then after a while, he completely ghosted me. So genetically modified skeptic saw my messages asking him to cover what's happening in Iran, even though we collabed so much and we were friends. No response from him, even though I saw that he saw my messages. Cosmic skeptic, we have a history with him. We collabed. He's my friend. He was my friend, at least I think. I visited him in Oxford. I met him. We hanged out a lot with each other. He saw my messages. Did not respond about the revolution in Iran. And also Rationality Rules. We talked with each other about planning on doing something, and then he eventually also completely ghosted me, and nothing came off of that. So unfortunately, it's very sad that the biggest atheist YouTubers, in the West, completely ignored the biggest atheist event in our lifetime, and I would say in history for sure. So
Yeah.
that is yeah.
Yeah, the largest exit of religion we've seen in a generation, probably ever in human history.
Yeah. And if for people who say like, "Oh, that's not the kind of topic they cover," no, they did.
They
Had
used to.
they used to. Yeah. So that's nonsense. Yeah. And at least you could get a response. Given that the friendship we had and the history we had, at least you could get a response to say like, "This is the reason why I can't cover it." Nothing though. Completely ghosted. Yeah. It's such a shame. I think like a lot of liberal Western atheists just betrayed their fellow atheists, and I think this is completely a betrayal. When
Oh, I
we
completely
want
agree.
we want atheists around the world to be there for each other, and when we needed them the most, they have a platform, they have the largest audiences, and when we needed them the most, they completely abandoned us. It's a complete betrayal. It's a shame.
Yeah. Like this is
Yeah.
why AP posted Apostate Prophet posted a thing in his community tab the other day. It was like people
Oh,
are always complaining about why I, work with Christians so much. And he basically said it's because like the atheists in the West don't care about ex-Muslims at all, blah, blah, blah. And that
yeah.
like made me a little bit mad because I'm like, hey, we're over here, we're doing our thing, blah, blah, blah. But his point is taken, because I actually get very angry about the same thing.
Yeah. And by the way, shout out to Apostate Prophet. Okay. When this happened in Iran, okay,
Yes.
I contacted him and I was like, this is important. We need to cover. He was taking a break from YouTube. He was not doing YouTube for a while. He had a whole other thing. Like his mind was completely off YouTube for that time. He was trying to, and when he saw this, he was like, immediately, he was like, yep, we need to do
Within
this.
like 24 hours, you guys were doing a stream about it.
I messaged him on Facebook and I was like, this is important. We need to do this 24 hours after he had me on. And it doesn't have to be with me. Like, I just cover it, just mention this. Right. So shout out to Apostate Prophet for covering this and dedicating an entire episode on it. And also shout out to the ACA, right? For covering this. So thank you to the ACA on the covered this on the Atheist Experience show. So, I mean, I just want to mention that it's not a complete, I want to also mention the positive. I don't want to just mention the negative. And also shout out to the Freedom from Religion Foundation. They also, so not all Western atheists have abandoned Iranian, so there you go. I just don't want to just say negative things. I also want to celebrate the positive. Yeah.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. But this
Yeah.
this is why I prefer to spend my time around ex-Muslims because I feel like you guys share my values more than other people. Anyways, let's go to the next news.
Yeah. Is it clappable?
Yes.
All right. Next news.
Next news. Exposed sermons of hate how one UK Islamic charity is raising red flags. The National Secular Society, or NSS for short, has dropped a bombshell by flagging serious concerns of extremism and anti-Semitism within an Islamic charity. Islamic Center of Leicester has been flagged by the Charity Commission by the NSS following sermons recorded at the center. One sermon, delivered by Mufti Mohammed Shakir Patel Mishbahi, indicated that blasphemers should face execution, while another suggested that Jews fear retribution in the afterlife due to their actions, meaning their disobedience to Allah. Miss Bahi was quoted as saying that anyone who dishonors Muhammad will be, quote, out of Islam, and that the punishment for such actions is, quote, execution. Megan Manson, NSS head of campaigns, expressed concern over the charity's actions, stating, "Sowing division serves no public benefit. An organization which repeatedly promotes extremist views should surely be stripped of its charitable status." She further highlighted the broader issue that, quote, the advancement of religion as a stated charitable purpose can sometimes mask the advancement of extremist views. So I thought this was interesting. Basically, this was an article put forward by the National Secular Society, which is kind of like, I see it as kind of the Freedom from Religion Foundation, but for the UK. Basically saying that they've reported this Islamic charity, and I believe it's pronounced Leicester, Leicester, Leicester. I never know with these English words. Anyways, they reported this mosque or this Islamic charity, which runs a madrasa, because this person who's pictured here has been giving these extremist sermons as recently as June. And these were videos that were reported, posted to YouTube. And according to the website of this Islamic center, he was actually the head of the madrasa, which means that he was teaching children from ages 4 to 13. And the charitable purpose of the mosque or the madrasa falls under advancement of religion to promote the spiritual teachings of the Islamic religion. And here's some of the things that he had to say. In one sermon, Misbahi said Muslims should not use the term Raina, Arabic for pardon, because Jews used it to ridicule the Islamic prophet, which is like, what? He says that scholars agreed that anyone who dishonors the Muhammad will be out of Islam. He then added that scholars say that there is only one punishment for that person, and that punishment is execution, and that they should be killed because of what he did in terms of the honor of Muhammad. He said that even if the person repents, it's not accepted. In another sermon, Misbahi says Yahud, meaning Jews, YouTube. I am reporting the views of another person for the purposes of condemning what they are promoting. This is educational, and these are not our views. We are talking about it to condemn it. Okay. The Yahud are the most greedy when it comes to having a long life because, quote, as a result of their deeds, they know that they will be punished for it by Allah when they die. He tells the story of a 6th century rabbi who was rejected by his Jewish followers after converting to Islam, and that says that we cannot really trust their statements even today. He adds, you have countries like the UAE celebrating festivals and everything with these Israelis and Zionists. Who are we going to complain? We complain to Allah. We refer all these matters to Allah because these so-called leaders of Muslim countries, we don't see them doing anything. In fact, they are funding these people, Israelis. How? Look at their businesses. And after this report, I believe it was the Charity Commission has acknowledged that they are going to investigate this this charity. And in the meanwhile, all these his Twitter account and these videos have suddenly disappeared.
Disappeared.
Mhm.
Why are they doing like what do you think the strategy is here? Does he not like enjoy having the do they not know the backlash? Like what's the gain? What's the gain from doing something? It's like can he just not stop himself?
I don't know.
Like
That's a good question.
right. Like I really, really, really want to not lose our charity status and all this stuff, but the Jews, I have to.
The Yahoo.
The Yahoo. I just have. I cannot stop all this hate.
Oh my gosh. One thing that I find
Yeah.
really amusing about this photo is wait, can you pull it back? It looks
Oh, okay.
like when in a thumbnail, they make the head look extra big, kind of like a bobblehead or chibi to like
Yeah.
get the attention in the
Oh,
thumbnail.
look at
But this
me.
is just like the photo. Like, why does his head look so
Oh.
disproportionately large in this photo?
He has a tiny body. He's a tiny little body. It's like a mini mom.
But do you have any thoughts about this? Any reactions?
I mean, a mom just a momming, I guess, in the UK. I don't know. This is a book. Yeah. I mean, this is normal, standard procedure. You know. Kill the blasphemers, hate the Jews.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, this is Tuesday.
Minimum, yeah. Oh yeah, reverse Hassan Pike.
Oh jeez, not his son.
I mean, but here's a good thing. This is that means this guy, if he works out, if you have a big body and a small head, that's hard to fix. But if you have a big head and a small body, you could just lift some weights and it'll all become proportional very quick. Why am I promoting exercise today so much? It's like
you're just a closeted gym bro. It's actually not even that closeted. Armin is a health nut, but he should be proud of it.
Oh, thank you. Okay. I mean, it's okay. Never mind. I'm gonna stop talking.
Oh wait, before we move to the next story, Kenny gave us a €10 super chat.
Yes,
Thank you, Kenny.
Yes, I almost forgot. Thank you, Kenny. I forgot. Like I almost forgot last time to read it out, and I almost forgot it again. Thank you. Athletic dogmatism. Yeah, I mean, I would do that. Like if you don't like Secular Rarity saying new AR workout routine. If you guys don't, if we had time, I would just start talking, and you wouldn't be able to stop me.
Oh anyway. Yeah. In a different lifetime, you were a workout influencer, lifestyle influencer. Spacelia is saying Armin has become an advocate for gyms as well as atheism. This reminds me of the video when you were reacting to the life of you were watching about the life of Dr. Ambedkar. And when you found out that he died at an early age because of his diabetes, you went off on a legendary rant about taking care of your health because you're like, look at what he was doing when he just got started. If he managed his diabetes, he could have done so much. Like you went off for a long time about taking care of your health. Like, if he did this for casteism when he was just getting the foundations of his philosophy started, imagine what he could have done.
I mean, like, am I not right? Like, people think like I'm just being a health nut, but like the history of India would have changed if like Dr. Ambedkar like lived just 5 years longer. So it's not just, it's about, I don't know. I think like the politics and religion and secularism and democracy were at hands, just a little bit, 5 years more. So I'm right. Like, actually, this is proof that I'm right. Like, I'm not being very picky. I'm being picky about an important thing. Anyways, I mean, for all things to be nutty about, I think being nutty about being healthy is the best thing to be, this option. Right?
I agree. And that's why I said that you should be proud of it. And he's proud of it. Okay. Be proud of it, King. Do your thing.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on. Why do I have a PDF? What?
This is
why do I have
me.
Okay. Do I have a PDF Is that correct?
Yes,
We're
that's
looking at
correct.
the PDF. Okay. You're such a nerd. Okay. What? Okay. Is it clappable?
Armin calling me a nerd because we're about to review reports from the U.S. State Department. Woo!
Yay! Nerding it out.
This is what
Okay.
I get excited about. Okay, yeah, let's clap.
All right. Next news.
Next news. Blasphemy laws are on the rise around the world. The rise in blasphemy laws worldwide is sounding alarms, with the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom, or USRIF for short, reporting a disturbing growth in countries enacting such laws. From 84 countries in 2020, the number has surged to 95 in 2023. Notably, countries like Bahamas, Barbados, Colombia, El Salvador, Guatemala, Cambodia, Kiribati, Solomon Islands, Tuvalu, Monaco, Portugal, and Uganda have been newly added to this roster between 2020 and 2023. Alarmingly, the list isn't just restricted to theocratic states, but spans several democracies and allies of the US. The penalties under these laws can range from fines to the most severe, death. And while they're touted as protectors of religious sentiments, the Special Rapporteur on Religious Freedom or Belief highlights that, quote, the right to freedom of religion or belief does not include the right to have a religion or belief that is free from criticism or ridicule. Yes, basically it's saying, ooh, nerd time. Yeah. Okay. So yes, I'm very nerdy, and so is Dee. And our lovely editor Dee, she sent me this report that came out from USRIF, and she highlighted the fact that apparently the number of blasphemy laws that are on the books around the world has grown from 84 to 95 as of between 2020 and 2023. Now, this is concerning, obviously, but one thing that I do want to highlight is based on the report, it is not entirely clear to me if these are laws that are newly enacted or they just identified these laws as being on the books within the past 3 years, if that makes sense. It might have been like, oh, there was a review of certain penal codes of different countries, and we now realize that this fits within these categories. So forth.
Doesn't the report identify which one of these two scenarios we're looking at?
Not really.
Is it
no?
Oh, so it doesn't explain the reason why we're seeing a rise?
In this report, no. In 2020, they did a very extensive special report on blasphemy laws around the world that took years to produce, and I know because I spoke privately to the author of that report, and I know that they want to do a follow-up to that report, but it took a considerable amount of effort to make that report, and partially because they were mostly restricted to the information available to them in English. And so obviously that's quite a limiting factor. And part of the reason what gives me the hesitance to say, oh, I don't know how many of these are actually newly enacted versus newly identified is like the case of Portugal. Like I started to look into the situation of Portugal, which is one of the countries that was newly on the list. And based on the cursory examination that I was doing, it didn't seem like the article of the penal code in Portugal just suddenly went on the books in the past 3 years. I think it was perhaps newly identified. But this is concerning, right? Because then this is what, like a third of the world's countries have blasphemy laws on the books, roughly.
Holy crap. Okay. Jesus Christ. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for making sure. I do want to see the cause, though. Somebody out there, please do a research. I want to see if it's an actual trend, and if it is, I know these are difficult to figure out, but it's important to figure out what the cause is. Why would
Yeah,
you
so
see an
part of the
upward trend?
report said USRIF's ongoing monitoring of religious freedom conditions abroad revealed several additional countries with blasphemy laws. So that makes it seem like they were newly identified. But I do want to do more digging into this because I'm sure that there are countries that actually did just more recently put them on the books. And as a reminder, I would like to remind everyone that in Brunei Darussalam, Iran, Mauritania, Pakistan, and Saudi Arabia, you can be put to death for blasphemy.
But they just recently were in Iran. Just recently, 2 people were hanged to death for that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyways, well, that's depressing. Oh, yeah. Thank you. All right, let's move on. You depressed me. Thank you very much. Okay, on a lighter note.
Damn, I'm sorry.
People okay, well, on a lighter note, people were, when we were talking about exercising and stuff, people were like using the Armin Guru emoji when you were talking about that. Guys, if you remember,
good.
I know you can't see it highlighted here, but if you remember, use the Armin Guru emoji. And that was Armin should start a gym and diet channel. And there was at least one customer. Kenny was saying, "Not going to lie, I would subscribe." And then we got a second one. Veed was like, "Me too." Okay, so see, there's at least 2 people who would watch me just.
You were thinking about doing that for a second.
Yeah, for a second. Okay. Let's move on.
Oh, Abidjan was saying, this is the perfect time to give my obligatory weekly compliment to Atheist Republic. Y'all are wonderful people, and I love you. Oh, thank you. Guys, that's actually a good reminder to make sure to like this stream, because I said some big words, and we're talking about controversial things, and YouTube doesn't like that. So please support the channel by liking the stream, liking the videos, liking the clips, leave a comment. That helps a lot. Help us feed the algorithm, okay? We might be atheists, but we prostrate at the worship at the altar of the YouTube gods. And to satisfy and please the YouTube gods, we must feed the holy and mysterious spirit known as the algorithm. So please help out the channel, and you don't have to do anything else to support. It doesn't have to be monetary, but that helps a lot. Oh,
wait.
We got a super chat from Lad Who Was Mad saying, Jugar ex-Muslim from Jammu and Kashmir here. Oh, hi. Saying following since 20. I'm assuming since 2020 or since you were 20. Anyways,
I love how not that many Americans know what J and K means, so I love how you just like casually just know these things. Amazing.
Of course.
Okay.
And Music Lover just became a member. Thank you, Music Lover.
No, wait, let me see.
Welcome to Satan's Minions.
Satan's Minion. Thank you.
Gujar, okay. Not Jugar. Gujar.
Oh, we got another.
Right? I don't even know Gujarat. Am I saying it right now? Gujarat. Everyone knows that I can never pronounce that right, and it's just become a facet of my personality, and no one can stop me.
We got another super chat from GJ. Thank you so much, GJ, for your generous super chat.
€22. Thank you.
Yeah. So GJ saying, talk on talking your health seriously. Talk on talking your health seriously. Dutch history might have gone quite different if controversial rising star politician Pim Fortuyn had not refused the armed bodyguards offered to him and got shot dead in 2001 and 2002. Okay, so yeah.
Pim Fortuyn was a badass. I don't know everything about his policies, but from what I know, he was a badass. He was a gay man that was framed as being far right and conservative because he had growing concerns about the rise of Islamism and intolerance in the Netherlands because of immigration. People are like, "Oh my God, he's just like fascist."
Oh, I read that wrong.
Like, no, he's a gay man who's just concerned that there are people coming to his country that want to take away his rights and kill him.
Oh, okay. I read that wrong.
Assassinated for it.
Hold on. Talk on taking your health seriously. Why did I read that? Talk on talking. I was like, what is he saying? Talk on taking your health seriously. Yes. Another example is Steve Jobs, by the way, who went woo woo when he got cancer. Instead of using modern medicine, he went with the, alternative medicine route, and then he realized how he screwed himself and died early because of it. So
And it was too late.
imagine. It was too late when he found out that he's been stupid. Anyways, thank you for that, GJ. And yeah, I think we covered everything. By the way, I just saw on the last news that the options you have added, and it just made you laugh. I can't wait to I saw you added an option.
yeah. We'll talk about that.
Okay, I just brought it up, so I just saw that. I was like, that's amazing. Okay, so I can't. Okay, so we'll get to that soon. So can we clap for the next news?
No, this is no bueno.
No bueno. Okay. Next news.
Australian family's attempted honor killing charges downgraded after guilty pleas. In a shocking case from Adelaide in Australia, family members of a 21-year-old Muslim woman who had been brutally stabbed for dating a Christian man have seen their charges reduced. Originally accused of attempting murder in what has been described in court as an attempted honor killing, prosecutors have now accepted guilty pleas for lesser offenses. The violent incident, which took place in a suburban shopping center car park, resulted in the young woman sustaining severe injuries, including a perforated kidney and a lacerated liver. Highlighting the family's disapproval of her relationship, it was noted that the woman's family sought to punish her for, quote, bringing shame on the family. The victim's father, who allegedly held the knife, admitted to an aggravated charge of causing serious harm. Other family members pled guilty to causing harm with intent and unlawful imprisonment. 2 of her brothers also pleaded guilty to criminal trespass. The court is set to hear sentencing submissions in December. So Armin, in the show notes, there's actually a like less than 2-minute video on Twitter that I wanted to show about this, because I think it gives a little bit more background and details about the case. Do you mind bringing that forward?
Yep, I'm bringing it up right now. Hold on.
Yay.
A second. Okay, so there we go.
Okay, here we go.
Family of a young Muslim woman stabbed over a case of forbidden love will no longer be tried for attempted murder after pleading guilty to a lesser charge. The shock development comes just days before the trial was due to begin.
An 11th-hour plea to an unthinkable crime. A young woman stabbed and kidnapped by 5 members of her family and at the direction of her own mother, according to prosecutors. And all, they say, because the Muslim family disapproved of her Christian boyfriend, believing she needed to be punished for bringing shame on them. During an earlier hearing, they alleged the 21-year-old was lured to the Sefton Park shopping centre in November 2021, where she was ambushed by her father, sister, brother and brother-in-law, stabbed twice in the stomach, forced into a car and driven to a Blair Athol house. She almost died of massive internal injuries. Among other disturbing allegations, family members placed a tracking device on the woman's mobile phone to monitor her movements and even drained her bank accounts. With a trial just days away, attempted murder charges were dropped. The group pleaded guilty to the less serious charge of aggravated cause harm with intent and false imprisonment. The prosecutor told the judge the young victim, whose identity is suppressed, will carry the trauma of this horrific event with her for the rest of her life. This is very significant and serious offending and carries with it not only the stigma of being a victim of a serious crime, but a victim at the hands of the entirety of her family. 3 family members are in custody. The case returns to the Supreme Court in December, when the sentencing process will begin. Deanna Williams, 7 News.
What the hell, man?
Yeah. I think it really disturbs me that their charges were lessened. And I mean, granted, I'm not the prosecutor, right? I'm not working with these people. I'm not a representative of the state in making sure that they're brought to justice and justice for the victims and so forth. But if there was what is obviously an attempted honor killing in the community, I think that that should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, full stops. There needs to be a very, very strong message sent that this is intolerable and that this, you will be hit with the book for trying to murder women for their own individuality, pursuit of life and happiness. There should be no lessened charge when you tried to murder an Australian citizen for her own decision to go date someone outside of her faith for perceived shame brought on to your family. That's intolerable. They should be put freaking under the jail because everyone else needs to know that Australian society doesn't mess around with that it's unaccepted in Australian society. And again, I'm not the prosecutor. I don't know the details, but I don't think that these guilty pleas, I mean, I know that, it's court, it's messy, things aren't perfect, this is politics, blah, 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 all that stuff. But it just pisses me off to have this downgraded with a crime like this, because I think it sends the wrong message. I don't know. Armin, what do you think? We covered this case a long time ago, and so I wanted to talk about this because this was an update.
I just try to imagine the level of disgust that you could have for something like this, for you to think like it's worth risking getting arrested for it, and paying. I can you even imagine how much shame and disgust they feel that makes this worth trying? Like, I can't imagine. Like, even though I am, I grew up in Iran, I can't. I've never been exposed. I know about all of this, but I just can't picture all that shame and disgust. Can you imagine that?
My presumption is that the way that this happens psychologically is that they view her to be subhuman by her actions. Because murder is actually something that's very difficult for humans to do to each other. We are very pro-social. And so to get to a point where you do that, there are various psychological processes that need to have kicked into place. And one of the ways that this happens is our brains rationalize it, essentially by dehumanizing the people that we do it to. So it's not as psychologically painful. It's not as much of a hit to our ego and our self-conception. So if you don't see her as human to begin with, it's a lot easier to do and pursue and accomplish and plan.
I understand that's how it works in the theory of it. I just can't imagine. I just can't picture the feeling. You know what I mean? Like to want to kill your own daughter. Anyways,
your daughter, your baby girl.
Yeah. And Secular Rarity saying, I agree, Susanna. I am not a fan of the plea deal option in these cases. By the way, a lot of people were asking if the girl is okay. I mean, I think she's going to recover, right?
She survived.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have to deal with the trauma of an attempted honor killing by the entirety of your family. The entirety of your family, including your sisters and in-laws, for the rest of your life. She probably lives in fear of reprisal attacks by other people in her community. I think she had to go into hiding. I can't remember the details, but I remember covering this case. I believe they possibly also previously attacked her Christian boyfriend.
Anyways, let's move on. But we have GJ celebrating his 12-month membership, saying, thanks, Susanna. You just nailed that. And I think he's referring to you because I basically butchered reading all this stuff. I don't know these names and stuff, so I kind of ruined everything. But I think you kind of read it well. So GJ was celebrating that.
Yeah.
Next time when I see Polish or Swedish or Dutch stuff, I'll just let you take over.
Well, I think it was less about the way I pronounced it and more about what I actually
Oh,
had to
your
say
take.
about him.
Yeah.
And his
Oh yeah,
legacy.
you had. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's move on. Can I clap for the next news?
This
Nobody
is
died.
no one died. No
Yeah.
one died. No one died. Yeah. This is
Okay.
fascinating too.
Next news.
Next news. Indonesian TikToker sentenced to 2 years in jail over blasphemous pork video. If she didn't get sent to jail, this is actually quite amusing. Okay, Lina Lutfiawati, an Indonesian influencer with over 2 million TikTok followers, has been jailed for 2 years after posting a video where she says Bismillah before consuming crispy pork skin, an act strictly forbidden in Islam. For those who don't know, Bismillah means like in the name of God. And people say it as a way to like bless things. So like maybe before you start driving, you say Bismillah. Before you start eating, you say Bismillah. And so she said Bismillah before eating pork. Traveling in Bali at the time, Lena sampled pork out of curiosity, but her video ignited controversy, leading to charges of quote unquote inciting hatred and disseminating hateful information. The sentencing has polarized Indonesian social media, with some hailing the court's decision, while others pointedly noted that corruption cases often see lighter sentences. Amidst the uproar, rights groups continue to criticize Indonesia's blasphemy laws, arguing they're frequently misused against religious minorities. The story underscores the tension surrounding Indonesia's contentious blasphemy laws, where even a viral video can have profound consequences. So this was rather amusing to me because I swear people have like asked us in the live chat, like jokingly, like, oh, if you say Bismillah before eating bacon, does that make it halal? Well, the answer is no.
Makes it worse.
Exactly. Yeah, apparently Secular Rarity saying inciting hatred, disseminating hateful information that's anti-pork, and I won't stand for it.
Wait, so here, let me help me understand. In Malaysia, you can eat pork, right? Yes, you can buy pork and you can eat pork.
This is Indonesia.
Right? Okay, sorry, in Indonesia, you can buy pork and you can eat pork. Like that is because there's too many non-Muslims for you to ban that. And even though it's an Islamic country, there's a lot of Chinese people that eat pork, right? They want their pork. So you can eat pork, you can buy pork, you can sell pork, you can make cooking videos about with pork, right? So all of that was allowed. The only thing she did wrong was saying Bismillah before eating pork. That's what got her the 2 years in prison. The other than just saying in the name of God, saying in the name of God in Arabic before eating the pork was the difference between this being completely legal and getting her 2 years in jail. Am I getting this right?
Well, I think that made it a lot worse. People did literally report her for eating pork while Muslim.
While Muslim, okay. So you could eat pork if you're not. Okay. So it's legal to eat pork. Okay.
In America, we have an acronym for like driving while black, DWB. But do we need an acronym for eating pork while Muslim? But it's like, make sure. Indonesia is one of those countries where you get categorized as being part of like an official religion upon birth. You know what I mean? People correct me if I'm wrong, but that's my understanding. And so it's like the state now dictates how you act because of how you were categorized at birth. So this woman in this photo, like clearly she is not wearing, very conservative Muslim clothing. She actually goes by the name Lena Mukherjee because she loves India so much. She has business in India. She was in the Hindu part of Indonesia. So she doesn't seem like the most practicing Muslim person to begin with, the most observant. She was willing to eat pork, film it, and say Bismillah for a joke. But now people get to dictate your own behavior because of, just how you were born and categorized at birth. It's insane.
Interesting.
Yes, eating pork while Muslim. Guys, watch out.
Yeah.
Desane with cellmates. What are you in for?
For guys, again, remember, she's not there. She's not going to jail for eating pork. I just double checked. Yes, it's legal in Indonesia to eat pork. Okay, she's in jail for just saying Bismillah before doing it. 2 years for that. That's insane. Do they have that anywhere on their books? I think this is like just show how lawless Indonesia is, because I don't think Indonesia has specifically a line in their laws that says like, yeah, saying Bismillah before eating pork is illegal. So it just show how random it is. I don't think they have that. I'm pretty sure they don't have that.
Yeah. No. Again, this is the joys and inconsistency and vagueness of blasphemy law, and this is why blasphemy law is so dangerous. Wait, there was a funny comment from Secular Rarity. LOL, I can just imagine a Muslim sitting in a restaurant about to take a bite of food and 3 cops just tackle them being like, put down the pork.
All right. Yeah. Well, okay. So I want to highlight something. Hold on. Where is this? Where is Shikha's comment? Okay.
Oh, right here.
No, above it, there was another one. Oh, yeah, this one. Okay, so Shikha is saying, I am a vegan, so I support this. I just want to show you, as I highlight this comment to show you how vegans are, many of them, and how they are responsible for animal abuse, okay? Because vegans cause more animal abuse. And vegans are responsible for completely derailing many vegans, not all vegans, derailing animal rights activism because of this insanity. That, again, sorry, Sheikha, but I just had to highlight that because I always say that. I always say that the worst thing, animal rights activism could have progressed so much if vegans weren't doing the kind of activism that they do, because so many people associate animal rights activism with the insanity that is vegan activism, and that's why so many people don't get on board with protecting animals from harm, which is such a shame and such a betrayal to animals, I think. Okay, there's that. And also we got a super chat. You want to read this one since I butchered the last one? Oh, I should read it myself. What?
No, something's on my mind. It frustrates me how Shikha complains about sexism and stuff and in our community, and then expects us to basically treat her like a baby because she's a female. Like, to me, that's sexist. Like, yeah, no. You're gonna be held. Yeah, we're gonna talk to you the same way we talk to anyone else. I'm not gonna give you differential treatment because you're a young woman. That's infantilizing. Yeah. I hate when people treat me like that way. I'm not going to participate in that.
Right.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Me.
Super
DJ,
chat.
Thank you for the Euro super chat. Saying totally agree with Susanna. Oh, this is in regards to the previous segment. Saying Australia is completely off the legal track here. And Armin, you read my chat correctly. Totally okay. No worries, mate.
Oh, I feel like I butchered it. Thank you. Okay, thank you for telling me that. And thank you again for supporting us. Thank you. Okay. Can we clap for the next news? Which one is the next news?
Sure. This is interesting.
Yes. Okay. Next news. How modern China reshapes religions. In a detailed report by Al Jazeera's Frederick Kelter, dated the 26th of September, the increasing encroachments on religious freedoms in China have been laid bare. Teresa Louis, a 58-year-old restaurant owner and devout Chinese Catholic, underscores the intensifying pressure on religious grounds, especially the nation's Catholics, who number up to 10 million. She starkly states that, quote, the government is trying to control everything about our religion, how our churches look, who our priests are, the way we pray.
Officially, while the Constitution of the People's Republic of China promises freedom of religion, many, including experts like Zhi Lian in the Duke Divinity School, argue that this freedom exists only on paper. Leon bluntly notes, quote, "But the Constitution is just a piece of paper. In real life in China, we are not seeing the government respecting freedom of religion." The story reveals an alarming accounts of control and repression across multiple religious groups, from the tearing down of Chinese crosses in Zhejiang province to the widespread detention of Uyghur Muslims in Xinjiang. Moreover, President oh my God, other languages are kicking my ass. Xi Jinping pushes for the Sinicization of religion and seeks to mold religious practices to align with the Communist Party's ideology, as evident in actions like the demolition of religious symbols and state-mandated religious teachings. Oh my goodness. Okay, apologies everyone for my difficulty in saying that. I don't know what's happening to me today, but yeah. Foreign words are being hard for me. Anyways, so I read this really sorry, go ahead.
No, you do better than most people. I don't know why you're apologizing. But yeah, go on.
I love this comment. Space Elliot, other language 1, Susanna 0. Actually, after this episode, it's more like other languages get, it's like a 5-0 at this point. Especially after that Polish segment. Anyways, so I read a really interesting article in Al Jazeera recently, and I thought it'd be interesting to talk about because it kind of talks about Xi Jinping's approach to Sinicization of religion. And it's interesting to think about because really Sinicization is something that's been occurring in China for centuries. And it's very obvious when you look at practice of different religious traditions that are either from China, evolved within China, went through different regions, or are foreign to China and came in and then were, transformed by Chinese practice and tradition. And however, Xi Jinping has his very own vision of this, right? And so he's calling for Sinicization of religions, but really it's more about in line with his view of state authority and Chinese socialist characteristics, so to speak. And so I wanted to read this quote from the article, and then you can give me your thought. Over the years, Xi has regularly called for the Sinicization of religion in China. However, it's important to note that the Sinicization of religion has occurred in China for centuries, states Duke's Professor Xi. As different religions have been adopted in China, as in many countries, they have evolved to fit with the local traditions, customs, and the changing of the times. But Xi's Sinicization means something different. The first time the Chinese leader publicly spoke of it was at a conference in Beijing in 2015, during which he also declared that, quote, the Communist Party could give active guidance on religions so that they could adapt themselves to socialist society, adhere to the direction of Sinicized religion, and increase the standard of regulations controlling religion. And then another professor says, quote, the current wave of Sinicization is driven by the party state as it seeks to change religion in China so it aligns with the Communist Party's and Xi's interpretation of the dominant Chinese culture and socialist core values. And this manifests itself in the demolition of domes and basically replacing them with Chinese-style tilted roofs and Buddhist-style pagodas. And there was this quote by this professor that I thought was so apt. He said, quote, the communist God is a jealous God that does not want anyone to compete with its power.
Oh, that's a good quote. Very much like Yahweh.
Yeah, what do you take of all this?
I don't understand how the Chinese government has ever since after Mao, they have all the data to know that loosening up makes the country stronger. So I don't know why they don't see it now. Like, I mean, these are very, very smart people, right? And the fact that China becomes so powerful is completely, you could see the correlation, but also the causation of just being more liberal is the reason why China is now the second largest economy in the world. Every evidence shows that as soon as they stop controlling everything, China just exploded in economy and power and influence and everything. So I don't understand why they're going backwards. Like ever since this new, the new government, ever since Xi Jinping came to power, they're going back the Mao way. And they're going back doing it the way Mao did it. Like, why? You saw what worked. You saw how you got here. Why are you going backwards? I never understood. I wish I could know. Yeah, does that make sense? Like the confusion I'm having here?
Completely. Yeah. And I really liked that comparison, saying a jealous God. The communist God is a jealous God. And I think that's really what it's about. It's about recognizing authority that's beyond the party. That's a threat to them. The only authority that should be recognized is the party.
Yeah.
Especially if you follow a religion that has a leader outside of the country's borders, like if you're a Tibetan Buddhist or if you're a Catholic and you follow you recognize the authority of the Pope.
All right, let's move on because we have I have another show.
We have made some super chats by Gasian American. Thank you, Gasian. Saying, I was always creeped out by the emaciated Jesus on a cross. There's a belief that images of death, as in a dead Jesus on a cross, are unlucky. That's interesting. That actually makes a lot of sense.
It doesn't.
Well, I mean, I could see why having a dying man, images and statues of a dying man posted around everywhere could creep people out.
Yeah. But
statues of an execution everywhere is a bit creepy.
Yeah, it's a bit creepy. I mean, it is a death cult. It's honestly, the whole combination of everything is just weird that became so considered to be wholesome and loving and anti-demonic religion. And like, you guys have your God, the picture of your dead God next to a cross. You eat his flesh, you drink his blood. Like, are you guys are you not the baddies? Like, yeah, I think every time Christians go to Catholics, especially when they go to church, they have to ask, are we the baddies? We seem like that in any story, we would be the demonic ones here, right? We eat our God and drink his blood.
Yeah, the image of going missionaries trying to explain this to other people for the first time, especially Catholics that actually believe in transubstantiation, being like, right. Yeah, so we say these words and now we're eating his flesh and blood. Like random indigenous people are like, excuse me?
I think the proper response would be, "Be gone, demon!" Minions. That would be the proper response, I think.
Remember when we were watching the Northmen, and in the Northmen, like is it Norse or Icelandic pagans, like they say something about how the Christians are so demonic because of what they do to their God. They're like, look at how they treat their God. These people are demonic. Like, and I'm like, you know what? That's an interesting way of putting it. They worship a dead man. Like,
there was another movie where the Vikings, I forgot the name of the movie, but in the movie, the Vikings, they had like Christian peasants working for them, but then somebody came and killed a whole bunch of the Vikings and cut them into pieces and nailed it onto the back of their house. And the Vikings immediately suspected that it was the Christians, because like, aren't these the people that have like their God like nailed to wood? Like, it must be the Christians who are doing this, because look at the religion. So I was like, that was kind of funny.
Like, it is really funny because when you grow up Christian, you never think about it in these terms.
Right,
You're like,
right.
oh, whoa, when you put
Right.
it like that.
Like they were like, who would do something like this? It must be the Christians. They have their God looks like that.
Oh my gosh, were you imagine me growing up as a child in mass every Easter
Right.
Sunday singing, "Were you there when they nailed him to the tree? Were
The
you
tree?
there?" Yeah, that's what we would say.
Oh.
We would sing, "Were you there when they nailed him to the tree?"
You sang about torture as a child, and you
Oh yeah,
made it sound wholesome.
every Easter
Okay.
as part of
Okay.
the Passion play, obviously.
What would that? Okay, singing about torture as children. Okay. Okay.
For all the
Wow.
people that grew
Wholesome.
up Catholics, when they, or at least in America or English speaking, when they heard me sing that just triggered memories.
Oh, okay.
Because this is a thing. Because I heard a comedian talking about this, and he started singing the song, and I could sing it along with him, word for word, decades later.
Oh, look at this. Read this one.
Yeah, Judy, hi Judy, is saying if Jesus was executed today, we'd all be wearing little electric chairs on our necklaces and have statues of electric chairs on all the churches. Exactly. This is a
Would you
method of
sing?
torture and execution.
How would that song? What would that be like? Sing that one. Were you there when?
Were
sing
you
that?
there when they strapped him to the chair?
That's
Were
good.
you there? Oh my god.
That was beautiful. Okay, one more super chat.
Thank you
this
for
one.
the other super chat Gasian, saying Jahannam, the quote, Jahannam Asylum Act assigned by Yudi sparked outrage as many Shin claims it would delay their own rebirth. I personally prefer works of fan fiction. So Gasian is giving him a little bit of giving us a little bit of religious fan fiction. Just a
People,
little
by the way,
sampling.
Yeah. Secular Rarity, by the way, love the singing. All right. Can we clap for the next news?
Yes. No, I mean we don't like this. No, let's not. This is a death sentence.
All right. Oh my god. Okay, never mind. Okay, I almost clapped for death sentences. Thank you for stopping me. All right, next news.
Death sentence for 4 in Iran over bootleg alcohol tragedy. In Iran, 4 individuals were recently sentenced to death for their alleged involvement in a disturbing bootleg alcohol incident that it resulted in 17 deaths and left 191 individuals either blinded or hospitalized. Bootleg alcohol, often seen in places where alcohol is illegal or heavily taxed, poses serious health risks, primarily when contaminants like methanol are present. As part of a larger trial involving 11 defendants, Judiciary spokesman Masoud Setayeshi confirmed that the 4 received the death penalty after being found guilty of corruption on earth through committing crimes against the physical integrity of people. The remaining defendants were either given prison sentences ranging from 1 to 5 years. Though alcohol has been prohibited in Iran since the 1979 Islamic Revolution, worsening economic crises have driven many Iranians to seek out affordable homemade alcoholic alternatives available on the black market. So, Armin, what is your reaction to this? And for people that don't understand, how is Islam responsible for this?
Well, I mean, you can see it in the picture because you don't the way to stop people from consuming deadly bootleg alcohol is to let them have let them actually consume the ones that these government officials are throwing away. Look, the ones that they're throwing away, those are fine. These are not bootleg. They don't have access to these ones that are not bootleg. Like the government is killing the people. The government, see, this is what happens. More people die from alcohol, related stuff in Iran than most other countries that alcohol is allowed. And also more people have more people in Iran. Did you know in Iran people consume more alcohol than countries that alcohol is free on average?
I'm not
I
surprised.
mean, but yeah. I mean, they're depressed and they pay a lot more money for it. But yeah, so this is like, look, the picture is showing you what is causing the people from dying. Just allow, if it was regulated, if it was allowed, if it was regulated, then people would have access to the stuff that it doesn't kill them.
Mhm.
So if I don't know why you're handing death sentences to these people. It's the government's fault here that this is happening.
Yeah.
I mean,
here's the thing. I actually do think that alcohol is a poison. I think that alcohol is one of the most dangerous drugs that you can use.
Yes.
But I'm against prohibition. I'm completely against
Yes.
prohibition because prohibition is dangerous and it leads to situations like this. It leads to black markets that are dangerous. It leads to economies that are dangerous for the people that engage in it. It leads to a lot of people that are collateral damage in these black market economies. And then it also leads to serious injury. So people are like, oh, Islam is so helpful because it, prohibits alcohol, and alcohol is so dangerous and has all these negative health consequences. And so this is a proof of why Islam, or why some things about Islam are a good thing. And it's like, that's to dictate your personal behavior, not on a state
level. And it doesn't work. It makes it worse.
Harmful. Yeah, exactly.
And it makes it worse. If I agree with you. I agree with Susie. I have myself. I always knew alcohol is bad for you, but with more research, I have gone from drinking alcohol once every month to drinking alcohol never. I'm not touching that stuff anymore at all. Okay, even like we have new studies that shows that idea of red wine 1 glass a day is good for you. That's also complete nonsense. It's not good for you. It's just pure poison. All right. But again, making it illegal does not solve the problem. I mean, the United States had the experience with that as well. They didn't realize how horrible. And Iran, like, look, more people die from this stuff in Iran than other. Like, you could see how trying to control it would be completely banning it. As bad as alcohol is, I'm sure the bootleg version is even worse.
Almost 200 people were either blinded or hospitalized.
There you go.
Blinded.
Yes.
So scary.
Yeah, exactly. The solution is exactly this, Darkosing. Educate and regulate. Doing a complete ban rarely works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. More reasons why we hate the Islamic Republic. Yeah. Also, unfortunately, a lot of ex-Muslims, because they think that everything good has everything that is good has been banned by Islam. So when they leave Islam, they're like, okay, then alcohol, like, okay, sex is good. Islam banned sex. So now we're going to enjoy sex as much as we want. And now we're going to enjoy alcohol as much as we want as well. And they don't realize that, no, like just because Islam banned alcohol, that doesn't mean now drinking as much as alcohol as we possibly can a good thing. Like some people, when they leave Islam, they overindulge in the things that were limited to them, before. I see that.
Rejecting religious dogma does not mean that we reject moderation.
Yeah. Yes. Read this one from Secular Rarity.
Secular Rarity is saying, yeah, it always annoys me when people talk about the benefits of alcohol. It's like, dude, just admit you want to drink. Don't pretend it's good for you. I agree. Same thing with sugar.
Yeah. And if you understand the harm and you decide that a little bit of that harm is okay, I mean, you have made that decision. That's up to you, okay? But as long as it's an educated choice, rather than a choice that you're making because you're not aware of the harm, right? I mean, know the harm, and then whatever you decide is up to you. It's your body, your choice. Okay. So, can we clap for the next news?
Yes, you are going to find this so interesting.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Next news.
Next news. Bahraini intellectual says Islam needs to be re-examined. We need a culture of life, not a culture of death. In a thought-provoking interview on NBC TV, which is a Saudi channel, so this happened in Saudi Arabia, but the man is Bahraini. Shiite Bahraini intellectual Dihya al-Musawi called for a comprehensive reassessment of Islamic texts. Sounds like some Shia deviation to me. He critically addressed the way these texts have been interpreted and claimed that they have been, quote unquote, booby trapped, turning the mentality of Muslim youth into a minefield. Al-Musawi emphasized the pressing need for modern Muslims, particularly the youth, to adopt a more enlightened approach to their religious texts and to move away from insular thinking. As he pointed out, many young Muslims are already shifting their perspectives, seeking knowledge from Europe and no longer viewing liberalism as taboo. With a powerful call to action, al-Musawi exclaimed, quote, "I am calling for a culture of life as opposed to a culture of death," and highlighted the importance of embracing a worldly perspective rather than being solely consumed with the thoughts of the hereafter. He notably remarked, quote, our problem is not with the Quran, our problem is with its interpreters. So, Armin, I think you'd be very interested in watching this video because there's so much about this that I was like, I just really want to get your reaction to this.
Okay.
So this has translated with subtitles. Do you want me to be the one to read the subtitles or do you?
Yes. You
Okay.
read it.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. Let's play this. Oh,
no.
error. Let's try again.
I'll bring it up on my computer just in case. Oops.
Let me try one more time. Where did the video go? Oh, here. Okay, I think I got it. Oh, got it. Go.
I love me some memory TV. Okay.
Okay, here.
Our problem is not with the Quran. Our problem is with its interpreters.
Okay, first of all, the problem is with the Quran.
مشكلتنا مع القرآن الكريم، مشكلتنا مع المفسرين.
The so-called preachers who said that you are a preacher.
هؤلاء ما يسمون ببعض الدعاة. من قال أنك داعية ومن نصبك؟
Who appointed you to be a representative of Allah?
وكيلا عن الله. لماذا دائما
Why do we always need an intermediate between Allah and us?
وسطية بيننا وبين الله. ومن
Sounds like Martin Luther.
I thought the same thing. Who said that you possess the absolute truth?
تمتلك الحقيقة المطلقة. فإذا
So our crisis stems from the text.
هذه مسألة نحن نعاني من أزمة نصوص
These texts need a re-examination. And then the person interviewing him jumps in and says revision.
تحتاج إلى إعادة قراءة.
مراجعة.
Right. We should examine history as critics, not as admirers.
يجب أن لا ننظر إلى التاريخ بعين المعجب ولكن بعين الناقد. دوري أن أخذ.
My role is to direct the youth toward the enlightened reading of the texts.
خذ الشباب إلى حيث المنهج التنويري، إلى حيث قراءة النصوص. عندنا نصوص مفصلة.
Our texts have been booby-trapped.
عندما تنظر إلى
The mentality of our youth has become a minefield because of these texts.
الشاب تنظر إلى عقله تجد ساحة ألغام بسبب النصوص. أنا أدعو إلى
I am calling for the removal of
شباب الجيل الحالي ولا شباب الجيل وجيل.
Oh, wait,
and then so the host says, he's like, do you mean this generation? And then he continues and he says, our generation.
منهم.
Yeah, the previous generation, myself included.
منهم كنا.
Oh my God! Why did he interrupt? Why did he interrupt him? The removal of what? He was asking for the removal of. Holy crap! That was the most important part. The host. God damn it! Shut the f up! I was gonna. Why did you interrupt him? I was gonna say he was asking for the removal of, and I was gonna wait to see if it's going to be a core part of Islam or not. But like I was gonna jump on him, like you can't remove that from Islam, but he didn't let him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go on.
Sometimes when you scratch your head, you find a time bomb.
احيانا تحك شعرك تطلع لك قنبله موقوته بسبب
because of these booby trap texts.
Go back to making that point that you were making. God damn it.
النصوص المفخخه. اليوم الشباب حتى بعد.
Today, young people, even Shiites, are seeking change.
على المستوى.
They should really stop writing Shiites like that. Like I don't really understand.
البيت.
Seriously, it's Shia. It's Shia. Even shits. Even little shits. Even these little shits. Okay.
الشيعي هناك شباب يتطلع إلى التغيير. فتح على أوروبا.
They have opened up towards Europe. They no longer see liberalism as a curse.
نظر إلى
Oh, well, I wonder why.
الليبرالية أنها ليست لعنة. حولوا الليبرالية.
Liberalism and openness used to be presented to them as hell.
إلى جحيم. أن الليبرالية أو أن الانفتاح أو أن الحضر كما يحدث حتى اليوم.
But today, even Saudi Arabia is leading towards a more balanced future.
على مستوى المملكة العربية السعودية تقود إلى نحو أفق متوازن وليس إلى إلغاء.
And not towards the abolishing of religion.
الدين كما يحدث في البحرين كما يحدث في الإمارات.
This is also happening in Bahrain and in the UAE.
الشيعة في الخليج عموما.
What do you think? And then the host asks him, what do you think about the Shiites in the Gulf?
كيف تشوف وضعهم؟
أنا أرى
From what I have read and having met with many young people,
أن هناك يعني من خلال تجربتي وقراءتي والالتقاء بكثير من الشباب هناك وعي.
I believe that a new mentality is emerging.
متجدد آخذ في النمو. هناك أمل على.
There is hope for change.
ناصية التغيير وهو عبر هؤلاء الشباب.
Because of these young people who studied abroad.
الذين درسوا في الخارج من الذين مارسوا.
Who exercised criticism.
النقد من الذين بدأوا.
And who began to discover that behind the prison bars.
ويكتشفون أن خلف الزنزانات هناك حدائق.
There are gardens of knowledge and culture.
معرفية وثقافية الإنسان لابد.
People should dress elegantly, study, get out and see the other world.
النقل لابد يلبس لابد يدرس لابد يطلع يشوف العالم آخر ثقافات.
See other people's cultures.
آخرين يقرأ التاريخ.
And study history as a critic and not as an admirer.
بعين الناقد وليس المعجب. هناك فوبيا.
Just like there is Islamophobia, we suffer from a fear of women.
المرأة كما يوجد إسلاموفوبيا عندنا فوبيا المرأة وعندنا فوبيا أوروبا.
Well, that's
a fear of Europe, a fear of Western civilization, a fear of the other, a fear of anything.
Okay, well, but he's saying it's considered Islamophobic, by the way. But yeah.
عندنا فوبيا الحضارة الغربية وعندنا فوبيا الآخر. أي شيء هناك حالة من.
We suffer from stress and schizophrenia.
التوتر. عندنا شيزوفرينيا انفصام. والله يعيش الدنيا وفكر.
People are living in this world, but they are thinking about the hereafter.
Well, what are you gonna do? That's the Quran. Like, if you're against that, the entirety of the message of the Quran is that. What do you want to change then?
في الآخرة لا فكر في الآخرة.
Okay, think about the hereafter, but do live in this world.
عيش الدنيا. أوهم الشباب أن الدنيا هي
Young people are deluded to believe that this world is a curse, a prison.
I wonder where they get that from. It's in the Quran. It's the dunya versus the akhirat. Like, have you read the Quran? Like, how could you like reinterpret the Quran? That's the entire point of the Quran. Jesus Christ.
ملعنة. الدنيا عبارة عن سجن يجب أن لا تعيش في.
That they should not live in this world and should not espouse a culture of life.
الدنيا يجب أن لا تعيش ثقافة الحياة. نحن ندعو إلى ثقافة.
I'm calling for a culture of life as opposed to a culture of death.
Well, then there's no point in looking into reinterpreting your text. That's not where you're going to find it.
ثقافة الحياة في قبال ثقافة الموت. يعاني
People are suffering from schizophrenia that sometimes degenerates into other illnesses.
أحيانا تصل إلى أمراض أخرى، الارتياب كما طرح.
Like paranoia, as you said.
البارانويا كله خايف ويتهيأ.
People are afraid and they think that the entire world revolves around them.
هي لأن العالم كله يدور حوله، هو المحور العالم.
That they are the center of the world or of the universe.
العالم هو محور الكون والنظريات كلها.
They believe in conspiracies.
تريد أن تقتل المسلم.
They believe that everybody in the world wants to slaughter the Muslims.
وتريد أن تذبح المسلمات. مو بهالطريقة.
It does not work this way. The world is too busy to care.
العالم مشغول عنك. هناك مؤامرات.
Indeed, there are conspiracies, but it is not that the entire world.
موجود ولكن ليس كل العالم مؤامرة ضد.
Is a conspiracy against Islam or religious people.
الدين أو ضد الإسلام أو ضدك كشاب متدين.
Okay, that was amazing. That was interesting.
Super interesting. So what do you make of that? Because I thought I found he was being quite honest in a way, some ways. And also, this is on Saudi TV.
Oh yeah, Saudi TV. The Saudis are celebrating stuff like this like never before. They're gonna constantly push narratives like this. But here's the way I want to look at this. Okay, this might sound contradictory. Okay, I celebrate this, but I don't encourage it. Okay, I celebrate this as a sign, but not a solution. Do you understand what I'm saying? Liberalism is winning. This is a sign that liberalism is winning, but this is not doing it. This is just a sign of it happening. This narrative is actually, yes, this is like, this demonstrates that this is a defense mechanism and we should not allow it. We should be happy that the defense mechanism itself shows that the liberalism is taking over. But this narrative by itself keeps the religion alive and slows down the progress of liberalism. So this is why I say I celebrate it, but I don't encourage it. I celebrate it because I see it as a sign that something is working. But what's working is not this narrative itself. The anti-religion narrative is what works. The more people move away from religion, the more narratives like this we are seeing, but it's not thanks to this narrative. The direction of causation is the opposite of what people think. People think this narrative is causing the progress. I say no, it's the progress that is causing this narrative. This narrative is not doing anything. If anything, is holding us back. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anything that is trying to preserve so if any narrative that tries to preserve the religion to remain relevant is not going to help. The change is happening regardless of the narrative that tries to preserve the religion. So you don't need to help them preserve the religion. You just need to run over them, basically.
Well, because it's not the forces of preserving the religion that are actually going to force it to progress. What forces it to progress is pressure.
Yes, this is just a reaction to the pressure. The pressure is causing people to try to come up with ways to preserve the religion, but it itself is not doing anything to help. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Zaid is saying baby steps, Armin. People are not going to drop the Quran overnight. That's not what he's saying.
You do not understand at all what I'm saying, Zaid. Okay, I'm not asking. Oh my God, this is such a misunderstanding of everything we're saying. I believe in baby steps, but baby steps in the right direction. The narrative to try to preserve the religion itself is not a baby step in the right direction. It's a baby step. Every time I say that the move should be against religion, people think that I expect the entire society to just become atheistic overnight. That is not at all what I'm saying. Okay, just because we believe in baby steps doesn't mean that you have to try to defend the religion.
Yeah.
Even when you're moving against the values that comes from religion and push against religion, the steps, the effects of that progress will be slow. It will be. I am the one who always says that any Muslim who still remains a Muslim but has less Islamic life, that is still a progress. But you get that by pushing against religion, not by defending it. That baby step that you're asking for comes from the forces that pushes against religion. What you're seeing here is the symptom of that pressure. This itself is not causing that baby step. Guys, please understand, this is very important to understand. I do agree with baby steps, but you don't get that from defending religion. It's very important to understand.
Here's a comparison. I think about it like this. Like, the Islamic Republic of Iran does not change its behavior because of the policies of the reformists. The Islamic Republic of Iran is forced to change its behavior because of the existential threat posed to it by opposition and threats of toppling, right? So, it's like that.
It's like that. Yes, exactly. There's a, for example, even, the Christian world did not become less Christian, for example, because religious people decided to reform Christianity from within. Okay? The reason why the Christian world is more liberal right now is because the movement against organized religion. So it wasn't the Protestant Reformation. If you look at the Protestants, they were a lot more radical in many ways than the Catholics themselves. It wasn't the Protestant Reformation that was responsible in this shift in ideology. It was the Enlightenment movement. It was the Age of Enlightenment. There was a movement against organized religion as a whole. And again, a lot of people still remain Christian. A lot of the thinkers themselves were Christians as well. But again, this movement against religious thought made
in favor of rationality.
In favor of rationality is what the reform movements that came after were a reaction to the push against religion. The religion itself did not become more like religious people did not become more tolerant and liberal because there was a reform from within. There was a threat from outside that forced them into a reaction. So if you study history, when you see what causes this reaction, then you have to focus your attention on that pressure, on the pressure that caused it everywhere else. We see this time and time again in history. So what I'm saying is, stay against religion and do not tolerate anybody that tries to come up with a new narrative in saying like, oh, we could look at the Quran in a different way. No, I think if you want to see more narratives, even like if you like this narrative and you want to see more narrative like this, then don't encourage it, because just keep fighting against religion, because fighting against religion is what's responsible for narratives like this. Anyways,
I think Zaid is bringing up a good point, though. He's talking about it from, so Armin is talking about it from a perspective of broad global social narratives and forces, and Zaid is talking about it from the perspective of an individual in the microcosm of society, saying there's no other way, though. If you come out against religion directly, living in one of these countries, you would be shut down immediately. So he's speaking from the perspective of the lived reality of being there and the risks involved.
I'm not talking about whether this guy what he's doing, if he should be doing it or not. Okay, what I'm saying is that this guy saying this thing is as a result of religion being defeated. So I'm talking about us. if you want to see more people being forced to say stuff like this, then we should stay against religion, because that's how you even get this kind of narratives possible. You shouldn't be encouraging it. We should stay in our fight full on against religion if you want to see this retreat. Is that retreat? Is that like this? Is that a no? This surrendering. This is a surrender. This is a surrender to liberalism, and it only happens because we pushed liberalism against religion. So we know what we're supposed to do. We know what the fight that we're supposed to fight. We have to constantly. We should not say that this. We should not endorse this. We should not be content with this. We should not be. This is okay. You know, when you are fighting against a dragon, if you see it injured, you don't like. Okay, it's injured, so let's go. Okay, because it will recover and come back and freaking burns the village. When your dragon is injured and you're standing on top of it with the sword, you finish the job. And what you're saying, what you're saying right now, if the dragon is religion, this is an injured dragon. So make sure that you just shove the sword right into its heart.
Yeah. I just want to be clear. I think like the disagreement was about kind of this happens all the time when we're talking about like really broad overarching social narratives and forces on a very large scale versus, and then what that means for an individual in their actually everyday life. So I think, yeah, we're on the same page. It's just,
right.
Yeah. What is it like for that individual is what he was talking about. But yeah, I thought this was like so interesting, and I was really excited to get your reaction.
Yes. By the way, just to be clear, guys, the dragon here stands for religion, not religious people. Okay, when I'm talking about swords and shoving swords into hearts, okay, I'm not talking about people. I'm talking about an ideology. I'm talking about religion. Okay. I hope you understand here. Okay. So secular rarity is funny. All right. So we got a whole bunch of super chats that we want to get to, right?
Oh, true. Yeah. Gage American sent a super chat saying a hadith says seek knowledge as far as China.
Yeah. It's literally the only hadith that people go to try to explain the so-called golden age of Islam, which I call it the golden age of North Africa and the Middle East, right? This is the only thing they have. There's like a crap ton of hadiths, and this is the only one that they have that try to use as a reason for why the golden age happened. Okay, but that's not the reason. We have more hadiths and more verses in Islam that is anti-knowledge, anti-science, anti-progress than this tiny little. I acknowledge that this hadith is true, that it exists. Okay, I don't know. I think it's a weak hadith, but I have to double check that. So I don't think it's an authentic hadith, but I could double check that. But no, that's not the reason why the golden age happened. The reason why it happened is because any empire that reaches enough wealth eventually starts focusing on poetry, philosophy, art, and science, right? It happens with every single empire. Even the Mongols eventually will like, we should stop destroying things and start building right? So.
That's kind of our thesis, our modus operandi, but maybe we should calm the fuck down.
right. Okay.
Animation. So in reaction to that, very modernist Muslim guy said the ship of Theseus. You can change a ship bit by bit until nothing of the original remains. Interesting comparison. Thank you for the super chat.
So the problem with religion is that it makes the change more difficult, right? So values constantly change through history, and they become better and better and better. What religion does is it comes and takes a snapshot, and we're like, okay, let's not change anymore. Okay, so the whole concept. So if you're seeing change here and you're celebrating the change, then that's why we're against religion, because this change is natural. What this change would always be happening. It's when you claim as certain values to be the word of God, that's what makes the values sticky. So what we should be against is not this law here or this value here or whether this is, this is the wrong approach to go out. Oh, Islam is against women's rights. Maybe we should change that. It's against gay rights. It's against democracy. It's against secularism. It's against free speech. Maybe if we change this and this and this, then it will be fixed. The problem is not that these values are wrong. The problem is that the whole idea of this being the word of God that makes it so difficult to move forward, right? So the core of it, it's like chains that like we're trying to move past, but this whole idea that these are the word of God makes the whole process slow. So if you want to target something, the main thing that you should be targeting is not like, is this against women's rights? Maybe we should change this. Is this child abuse? Maybe we should change this. You have to see what is holding all of this back. It's the claim that this is the word of God.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Perfect, uncreated.
Yeah. Okay.
And Gaijin just gave us another super chat saying, are you sure that hadith wasn't supporting the People's Republic of China's policies?
Yeah, maybe. Oh yeah, actually you're right. Oh wow, that's a completely new look on that hadith. If you wanna learn fascism Islamically, go copy the PRC. Right, yeah. Okay, so you start this one from Skyfall.
Oh, Skyfall's just saying, hi, I love you, Susie and Armin. Salam, Skyfall June. Happy to see you here. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. I'm gonna see Skyfall soon after this show. So which means that we should get
on the Persian show today.
We're gonna talk about how the Quran claims that comes from your backbone. Okay. Instead of your testicles, as as shown by science, right? So yeah, by the way, for people who don't know, the Quran thinks that your cum comes from your back. It doesn't know that it comes from your testicles, right? So that's in the Quran. So we're going to analyze that. Yes. Also, we are going to, by the way, somebody tried to actually claim that actually it is referring to testicles because it's using to refer to back is using a word that kind of seems like a cross. And what do you do with the cross? You hang people from a cross, and your testicles are also something that are hung. So it actually is referring to the testicles. So I saw somebody try to, on the Persian show, somebody was like, no, this is not an error in the Quran. What you think is saying everybody has interpreted this to be the back, but this guy is like, no, this has been a mistranslation for hundreds of years. This is actually referring to testicles because the testicles are hung just like you hang somebody from a cross. So just,
I appreciate the creative levels of the reach.
Right. Yes,
I appreciate the creativity.
This is what people mean when they say about reinterpretation of the Quran to make it more according to modernity. They're talking about just realizing that testicles are hung just like somebody is hung on a cross. That's what they're talking about. Anyways,
you don't nail your testicles to the tree.
You don't? Yeah.
No,
okay.
I hope not.
Okay.
Okay. The Asian American is also saying come from the backbone is also a Brahmin belief.
Oh, okay.
I didn't
Interesting.
Know this. Interesting.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Okay. All right. Let's move on because I really have to go. Yes. But this is the good news, right? So can we clap for the next news?
Yes, we can. We can.
Yes. Next news.
It's an important update on the Atheist Republic emergency fundraiser.
Wait, go back. You got cut exactly when you said next news. I want this to be good. Like, let's say that again. Next news.
Important update on the Atheist Republic emergency fundraiser. So, guys, last week we came to you and talked about the challenges that we've been having as an organization and why we unfortunately had to make the difficult decision to lay off our news writers, which is an important part of this show and programming that we bring to you guys every week. And we put out the call to help support us to meet our goal to make sure that we can continue our work as an organization. And absolutely insane, we have in 10 days, because of you guys, because of our community, nearly doubled our target goal amount. We have raised almost double our target goal amount. So we're trying to raise $2,500. We've raised over $4,000.
That's crazy.
Absolutely
That's amazing.
crazy. Armin, what was your reaction to this?
When
I sent you
I
the
thought
screenshot?
that I could not believe it. I was like, "What the?" Because the donations kept on coming. Like we reached it. I'm like, I like Susie. I messaged her and Secular Rarity. I'm like, we made it. We got the 2,500. I couldn't believe it. But it didn't stop. It just kept on going. That's incredible. That's crazy. I mean, we also sent it to our newsletter subscribers. By the way, guys, get on our newsletter. Link in the description. And then after that, it just kept on growing. Thank you to everybody who donated.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
Someone donated a straight up single donation of $1,000. Absolutely incredible. And
look at the message.
Secular Sakai, one of our top donors. Thank you so much, Sakai, for what you've done to support our community, what you've done to make sure that our work can continue. Alone is a significant achievement. Elliot is saying, no freaking way. Thank you all so much. And Imran is saying, the Atheist Republic community really said, hold my beer. So I just want to say, they won't stop. They just won't stop. He's saying many thanks to the Atheist Republic community. So I wanted to give this important update. One, because I want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts for showing this level of support. It beyond exceeded our expectations. This is incredible. And I think for me and Armin and the rest of our team, it makes us see how much we're appreciated, and that's very meaningful and rewarding to us on a personal level. And also this makes a huge difference for us as an organization. So now that this month is over, it's officially October, I'm going to be working on the budget this week and reviewing our finances and seeing about what this means for us and how I want to use the surplus of these funds, because I do want to bring our writers back, but I want to make sure that we're doing this in a smart and really sustainable way. So I need to work on our budget, and Armin and I are going to touch base about that this coming week, because I do think it is important that you guys know, how we're going to work with the funds that our community has so generously given us, right? Because you guys work hard, you earn to provide for yourself, and people have decided that they are going to take some of their hard-earned funds and give it to us. And I want to be responsible with that, right? So to that end, can you bring up the monthly donor page, please? One thing that I said was that one of the best ways that you can support Atheist Republic and make sure that this show can continue is we have a goal of getting 50 $10 monthly donors. That's our goal, because if we have 50 $10 monthly donors, then we will always be able to make sure that we can continue this show. Continue it to the quality and standards to which you guys are usually used to us giving it to you, right? With our news writer and our news team and all the things that go behind it. So let me put the link in the description real fast. So if you want to make sure that you can very easily set up a monthly donation to make sure that this show can continue, you can go to this link, and I put different tiers on here. And when I was checking to see how many monthly donors we've gotten so far, I saw that one person opted to do the other amount and do their monthly donation at $6.66. And I liked it so much that I literally went and changed our tiers so that there can be a 666 tier.
But it's just I'm worried because we really need the $10 monthly $10 ones, and that 666 just seems so attractive.
Hey,
I don't
here's
know
the
if it.
thing. If we get more people willing, if they like the novelty of the 666 and we get more people engaging with it because they like the novelty of the 666 versus the 10, then I'm fine with it. That's
Well, can we?
what matters more is that we have low and slow monthly donors.
Can you remove the 666 and add $66 and or 666 or like something like that? I think because we might, yeah,
I
just
like
put
this more.
Okay.
I think this
because
is a
I'm worried
strategy.
because we really need the $10 month. Okay, guys, yeah, sure. Okay, if it was me, I would do $10, $50, and 666. But okay, sure. Susie knows what she's doing, so I'm just gonna accept that. But okay, yeah, but guys,
Secular
remember to
Sakai is
make.
saying, is there a counter for how many monthly donors we have at any given time? So I know that so far for our goal of 50 monthly donors, we have 10. We have 10 out of 50 $10 monthly donors so far, or roughly. It averages out to the 10 donors that we have, 10 monthly donors that we gained, giving about $10 a month. So we still have 40 monthly donors to go to meet our goal. So guys, yeah, Secular Sakai is saying, I think 666 is $6.66 is a good option to have. It's affordable and novel. Okay. Exactly.
Okay.
So guys, please, if you have the ability, it would mean a lot to make sure that the show that you love can continue operating at the level that you guys are accustomed to, that you appreciate. So please become a monthly donor if it's feasible for you. $10 per month is our goal. However, if you want to stick with the novelty of 666, that's totally fine with me. And yeah, it's Secular Rarity saying, for all the credible things Atheist Republic does every week, $10 a month is so cheap, y'all. Because for me, I think about it as not only are you giving to our organization to make sure that our work can continue, but really the people that you're giving to are the other atheists around the world that share your values and that want community to share with these values. You're providing a service to all the ex-Muslims, all the ex-Hindus, all the people that can't find this community in their actual environment, right? And they come here to feel like they belong, and they come here to learn, and they come here to share their opinions and be themselves in ways that they probably can't in other areas of their life. So that's really who you're giving to when you give and become a monthly donor with the Atheist Republic. So if you have the ability to become a monthly donor, this is one of the best ways. This is the best way to make sure that our show and programming can continue. So please consider becoming a monthly donor. And I will give the link one more time in the live chat. And Secular Rarity is saying, exactly, you're literally helping to provide a lifeline to some people. Yeah. Thank you, Elliot. I think that's a good way of putting it. And Secular Sakai is saying, if we get closer to 40, I may increase my monthly amount significantly. Whoa, guys, if you need any extra motivation to become a monthly donor, this is some major motivation. Because Secular Sakai loves to match donations. So you can double, potentially.
Thank you.
Or amplify your impact because of his generosity. Newman is saying, why I cannot add my card to say that saying this recipient is not supported in your country. For people in India, there is something weird. PayPal has issues with India. I'm not exactly
a lot of people use PayPal in India. If you have a PayPal account, a lot of people use PayPal in India. So I don't know. Some people
there's always weird issues with PayPal in India.
Okay, PayPal, you need to get your shit together. India is like a economic superpower now, so it's weird that PayPal is not working properly there. But I know a lot of people in India don't have issue with PayPal, so I don't know why your experience might vary. Yeah. All right, but again, thank you guys. So Susie, you said we're at 10. Like, can you like sometimes come tell us every time like what number we're at?
Oh my God, that's
'Cause
my
if we
goal. I'm
get-
going to come every week and give you guys an update.
Yeah, if we get to 50 $10 donors, we'll be set. Right? Fantastic.
That's the goal.
All right. By the way,
the other
I
thing
just
that
want
I
to
want
also
to do is like come to you guys every week and be like, because I have so many plans and visions about how we can increase our work in AR and like what we need to get there. So I'm gonna like lay out a roadmap over time. I'm very excited.
By the way, I just want to also thank a special someone named Susanna, because this is, I think, the 10th time that Atheist Republic was going off the cliff and falling apart. And she saved us again with these unique ideas that she has. So I don't know, guys, I think like we would have been gone completely extinct by now a couple of times if Susanna was not here to save us. So amazing CEO. Thank you so much, Susie.
Thank you. Oh,
we are this time again, we were so close to everything falling apart, and she came up with this idea and she saved us. So thank you.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Oh, well, I love this community, you know. And what did I say to you, Armin? I was like, you know, I was getting my warrior mode on, and I was like, we didn't come this far to only come this far. You know what I'm saying? I didn't go through as many challenges and difficulties and stressors with the work I've done for this organization to give up like this. I didn't come this far to only come this far and go out like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm pulling us together. I'm steering this shit.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Behind the scenes, I have like, you know, like football coach style pep talks.
Yeah. Sometimes when I feel like everything is getting, you know, she comes and she gives both of us a pep talk, just me and her. She's like, okay, we can do this. Okay.
I'm like, you know why we're gonna do this? Because we're not going down like this.
Yeah. And she makes me talk like that as well. I mean, like, she like giving me, like, guys, this is what she talks like in private. She's giving me a pep talk. I'm like, okay, yeah, we can do this. I'm like, no, you have to speak like this as well. I'm like, yeah, we can, like not. And she's like, no, that's not good enough. Harder, stronger. I'm like, okay, yes, we can do this. Like, this is our sessions with each other. Like, this is what goes beyond.
Yeah. I'm like, no, Armin, I need to hear you. I need to hear you say it with conviction. Conviction.
God,
okay.
She makes me do that. Yeah, she does.
Go freaking Navy SEAL on that ass. I watched too much David Goggins. This is what happens. Who's gonna carry the boats and the logs? You. Sorry. Sometimes you just have to go full Goggins. Anyways, guys, thank you for a really fun show today. Thank you for supporting our work. Again, please become a monthly donor and make sure that we can continue. And like the stream, we're on the road to 40K. If you're here and you haven't subscribed, I don't know why, because we're growing the AR army. We are growing the AR militia. We are so close to 40K. So we need our army to be 40,000 strong. Okay? So subscribe.
Thank you, everyone. And we just got another
super chat saying, it's the Atheist Republic prayer.
Sure. Sure. All right, guys. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Everyone, so the Persian-speaking people, just make sure you come over to the Persian live stream soon. All right. Bye.
Bye.